This is my take on week 1 of the NFL. So to start off, Panthers versus Broncos. Now, I thought the Panthers had a pretty good statement, obviously, early on in the game, and I thought Trevor Siemian looked pretty bad. You know what that means about the Broncos is, if Trevor Siemian got the starting job and he looked that bad, then I wonder what Paxton Lynch would look like if he was starting out there. And to be honest, is Gary Kubiak known for developing quarterbacks? Probably not, so I can see that easily happening. But I thought Cam Newton did a decent job right there. Broncos, I still think they're one hell of a defense. In the beginning, I thought they might have given up a lot, but remember, the Panthers have a good offense, okay? So give them some slack there. And the Denver Broncos defense looks sick right there. Next game, Ravens and Bills. And overall, the Ravens game was just a statement game that the Ravens could win football games. That's basically all I got out of it. And basically, Rex Ryan, he really needs to stick to being a defensive coordinator probably. He should have probably been hired as, or probably just should have sticked as a defensive coordinator. He's definitely not a head coach. Vikings versus Titans was just a terrible game, I thought. I was just looking at it, and when the Vikings got their turnovers on a defense, they weren't impressive at all. Just dumb mistakes by the Titans and overall. And I thought Mariota, he looked okay. He didn't look too great either. And the Vikings, yeah, their defense played all right and all that. And overall, I really felt that Adrian Peterson definitely did have a bad game, but the Tennessee Titans do have a good front seven. It's fairly decent. They know how to stop the run. They have some good defensive linemen up there. And to be honest, the Titans, they do got talent, okay? They definitely got talent. But I really don't think they got coaching at all. They just don't know how to go out there and just win football games overall. And the Vikings, yeah, they're kind of an overrated team right now. Now, I know that they lost Teddy Bridgewater and all that, but the Vikings are just one of those teams that it's probably going to be the Packers are probably going to win the NFC North. Now, watching Jaguars and Packers, I thought the receivers didn't do such a great job overall. Now, I thought the Jaguars' coverage, they had good coverage. Their defensive line, who they invested in, they couldn't get a freaking sack. And a lot of Aaron Rodgers' touchdowns were basically from just him just sitting in the pocket, just waiting and waiting till he makes the correct decision. You can't do that. And it looked pretty bad out there. It looked like they couldn't stop him. And I was looking at the skill set of the wide receivers of the Jaguars, like Allen Hurns, Marquise Lee, Allen Robinson. They didn't have a good game. And that's a game I really feel that Bortles, Hurns, Robinson, all those guys should really make a statement in the NFL as one of the next guys. And they just completely collapse right there. It's a 1 o'clock game at home. And yes, I know it's against the Packers, but that's why it's a statement game. You're supposed to do well. And it just shows that Gus Bradley, he ain't a great coach. That final play call at the end of the game where it was a bubble screen on a blitz, hell, all they had to freaking do is probably just run a slant up the middle, and they probably would have won that freaking game. I'm sorry. That's all they had to do. I mean, the athleticism is clearly there with the wide receivers, but they failed to execute, and they're poorly coached overall. Now, Falcons, Buccaneers, overall what I thought about that is former Seattle Seahawks defensive coordinators cannot coach an NFL football team. Okay? Now, they did have great defenses, but I would give it to Pete Carroll, who drafted that defense. And hell, Pete Carroll is probably the modern-day Jimmy Johnson of our era. But at that same time, though, they didn't look great. And the offense, there's not going to be much improvement in Dan Quinn. And the defense of the Falcons, it looked pretty. It didn't look too great. I mean, their one turnover was just Jameis Winston's being not very smart. And then I looked at the Buccaneers offense. They were okay, I would say. I would say the Buccaneers offense was definitely far better than the Tennessee Titans offense. Definitely better than the Browns offense, no question about it. But overall, I really really felt that. It just wasn't all that impressive. Chiefs Chargers. Now, what I thought about this game was I thought the offensive line dominated the defensive front on both teams. The Chiefs were freaking manhandle out there. And Melvin Gordon, I didn't think he was all that impressive at all. He just kind of ran through a bunch of open holes. That was it. Simple reads. That's all Melvin Gordon had to do. And I looked at that and I'm like, that's not that impressive. And what Phil Rivers, he had a good game, but he's a tier 2 quarterback for life. And overall, I was looking at the Chiefs. Alex Smith, the only time he's gonna look freaking dominant is when he has to throw freaking touchdowns, or like when he feels like when he throws a touchdown early on in the game, you gotta boost his confidence up. Alex Smith lacks confidence, and right there, and I wasn't really overly impressed. I mean, hell, I think the Chargers do have the talent have the talent on the team to do well. The coaches, they just don't know how to coach. That's it. There's so much bad coaching in the NFL. It is too ridiculous. Okay, Browns Eagles. Now the Browns are probably either the worst or the second worst team in the NFL right now. RG3, even when he's healthy, he doesn't look good. And Carson Wentz, he had an impressive day. Okay? I know it was against the Browns defense and all that, but he is a rookie quarterback. And I looked at it and I'm like, it looked pretty good out there. He looked like he just had confidence just to go out there and throw the ball. And I think confidence for a quarterback is huge. It's huge because you got to be confident to play a quarterback. And I think you see a little bit something in Carson Wentz. Okay? Now, I don't know why his jersey sales sailed up to number 1 on the board. Well, I kind of know why, but I just felt like, listen, look, he had a good first impression. That's all I have to say. Good first impression. And by the way, Hugh Jackson was an overrated hire from the start at head coach. I'm sorry, Hugh Jackson, I just don't like coaches that try to purposely advertise themselves. And right there, like during when he was in Cincinnati, he was just running a bunch of creative plays. It looked like he just didn't know how to run like a regular offense. That's Hugh Jackson. He just was a guy that was just playing politics out there. He wasn't true. He was a fraud out there when he was in Cincinnati. And now he's showing his true colors with Cleveland Browns. Dolphins Seahawks, that was just disastrous. When I was looking at that and at that game, it was just like, what was that? I think the only highlight of that game was Arian Foster can still move at his age with the amount of stuff he did. And to be out there, I thought that the Seahawks defense, they looked exploited out there. They definitely looked exploited. Like, the idea about it is they're a great tracking team. Like, they can pursue to the ball carrier. And you're not going to be able to pull off many, like, jukes or anything like that. And Arian Foster pulled out a juke on Earl Thomas. No, Arian Foster deserves some credit. But, man, Earl Thomas, you got to do better than that. I'm sorry. You looked exploited out there. And yes, there were some big-time sacks in that game. But I felt like they were kind of exotic kind of plays. And that's not how Seattle usually plays. They run a very simple system because they got all this talent on the defensive side of the ball. Hell, they just have great individuals overall. And the sacks didn't look bad. It's just like they just didn't look good. And Adam Gase, you're a true offensive coordinator, and you're against the Seahawks. You only scored 10 points. I know it's the Seahawks defense, but come on, can you at least put 17 up on the board, please? Now from Giants and Cowboys, I thought the Giants you see something with the Giants, they have a lot of potential. I think they're probably going to win the NFC East. They're most likely to do it. And I thought they did an okay job. I kind of like their personnel. And Eli Manning threw an Eli Manning play. But with the Cowboys, though, Jason Garrett does not know how to coach. Dak Prescott had a decent game. It was a decent game, okay? And Ezekiel Elliott, okay, he had a decent game too. But Jason Garrett does not know how to coach, okay? When you look at the Terrence Williams plays, if you look at what Terrence Williams did, that's all you have to look at. There was so much other bad coaching mistakes that were done there. But overall, Jason Garrett cannot coach. The Terrence Williams thing was basically the final blow, and it just showed Jason Garrett's true colors. All right, Patriots Cardinals Sunday Night Football, very good game. I thought it was basically just a coach's duel, and I thought Jimmy Garoppolo did decent, and I thought John Brown was a disappointment. He has a lot of speed, and there's a lot of slow cornerbacks in New England. You need to do something. And New England, even though they have a very good front seven, I was impressed by their pass rush, but by their run stop, you kind of have to bring down David Johnson. David Johnson's very good, but they need to bring that down. And Larry Fitzgerald, he looked like a monster out there. From Jets Bengals, the Bengals still look like the Bengals. There's nothing new with that. And the Jets, they can't finish drives. They just cannot finish drives whatsoever. And Todd Bowles, he's an overrated coach. He's supposed to be known as this guy who's very into the technique, the strategy. I didn't think he did a very good job right there. And also, AJ Green did a nice job, but Darrelle Revis, you need to do better than that. I'm sorry, you need to do so much better than that. Brandon Marshall, you had a bad game. It's just the Jets, they go from 10-6, strong season, but man, it looks like it went down south real fast. Steelers Redskins, I thought was just a complete blowout. The Redskins, they're just not ready to do anything. Kirk Cousins checked down way too much. But the biggest highlight was Josh Norman never tracked. Bad coaching job by Jay Gruden. But also, it shows you the importance of the zone defense, that you need multiple bodies to know how to cover. It ain't a man defense. Ideally, they should have ran a man defense. And I'm not agreeing with that. But when it comes to Breland, though, if you're going to be good, you got to be able to cover Antonio Brown somewhat. You can't be exploited like that. That's not how you run a zone defense. Everyone needs to contribute in a zone defense. Rams 49ers, it just shows you that Jeff Fisher is an overrated coach for the Rams. He does not know how to coach offense whatsoever. And his defense, it just got exploited like it did last year. Nothing new. And Case Keenum, he looked bad. Blaine Gabbert on the 49ers looked fairly decent. Chip Kelly can run a quarterback-friendly system. He can. That's one thing that he can do well. And Blaine Gabbert looked like the game manager that they were missing since the John Harbaugh days with Alex Smith. That's what they got, and it looks like he could play pretty well. And then you got Carlos Hyde, who looks a lot like the second coming of Brandon Jacobs.